welcome back to the Lady Flames Softball Podcast. A really great pod in store for you guys today because it's postseason preview time. The Conference USA Tournament coming up this week. We're filming this on a Monday. When this comes out, we'll be just one day away from Liberty taking the field for the first time on Thursday. It's going to be so exciting, especially because, Tori, like the talent in CUSA this season is pretty unmatched. You really have no idea who's going to come out on top of this thing.
Yeah, when we're looking across the board, you've got a number 7 seed, Louisiana Tech, who had just swept Liberty, who had also taken a win against a ranked Virginia Tech team. So when you're looking at who can we expect, how do rankings shake out, do not expect anything. I think it could be pretty crazy, especially from the offense. I mean, we've seen it all through the conference. It's been wild.
Yeah, it's been a crazy conference season to watch. And we take a look at our Conference USA standings to close out the year. Liberty falls as the number 3 team in the CUSA. And those two teams on top of them, Western Kentucky and Jack State, they are no joke. And we've gotten to see them firsthand here at Camp Ice Field. They're not playing around. So Liberty, I mean, the separation is so minimal as well. Liberty only 1 game away from Western Kentucky and Jack State. Jack State's been the real separator. Yep. They've gotten up there and really separated themselves from the pack, but Liberty is a tight race right where they are in that mix.
Jack State is one of those teams that when you see them in conference play, in postseason, they're that threat because I think the one thing that they do best, they hit with runners on. It's those scenarios where the pressure's on. You look at Noah Kowski, she leads the nation in doubles. So if someone's gonna go gap to gap, it's gonna be her. And also you look at Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky, that matchup, WKU is ranked above them, but Louisiana Tech, Reagan Marchant, the bats are hot. So I don't think that you want to see either of those two. That one's going to be a bloodbath.
Well, and you talked about Western Kentucky, and they came here to Lynchburg. Liberty ended up winning that series 2-1, but they're such a complete team. Like, they're getting it done from all aspects of the game, and it shows in the conference season that they've put together. What were your biggest takeaways from seeing the Hilltoppers here in person?
I think it's the pop off the bat. I think it's also their adjustments in the box from inning to inning, no matter who they're facing on the mound. They don't get too discouraged. They're also a very, I would like to say, scrappy team because they're aggressive on the base pass. They will force you to make mistakes, but then you never know that meat of the lineup when they're going to get up and just take one out of here. They've got a parking garage apparently behind their field, and so they're trying to take it to level 2, 3, 4, and at this point it's just a game to the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, home runs are just a game. Like, come on now. Well, we take a look now at our CUSA bracket, the tournament, how it's all going to shake out. And Liberty, as we told you, they take the field on Thursday, but they will be facing off against the winner of FIU Louisiana Tech. And that first round is a single elimination game. Whoever loses that will be going home, which is crazy because it's 2 amazing squads that we're seeing there with the Panthers and the Lady Texters. But as you mentioned, Liberty potentially going to get another meeting with Louisiana Tech. I mean, Louisiana Tech put it on them the last time they saw them. It was the first time Liberty had been swept in conference play since 2015 when playing at home. So it's a tough card to be dealt for potentially a first matchup. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think you would rather see FIU if you're Liberty, just looking at matchups. I mean, not to take anything away from them. They're super versatile, quick on the base pass, very athletic. But when you're looking at Louisiana Tech, this was a team that beat you without throwing Allie Floyd. We saw her just a little bit at the beginning of that series. She wasn't able to settle in, but that is their ace that's been so dominant. If she comes in postseason form and then you add Campos and Johnson on the mound, also Gracie Flores in that DP spot, come on. She has been so good on a roll. So it's going to be a tough one, but I think for Liberty, if they're able to hit the ball early, it's going to be really competitive, probably high scoring. Yeah,
and if Liberty does escape and moves in the winner's bracket, moves on, they'll take on Western Kentucky, which those were a tough few games that we saw them when the Hilltoppers came over to Lynchburg. So it's going to be entertaining any way it shakes out. It's going to be a fun one to watch. This bracket is definitely full of a lot of challenges for the Lady Flames, but Liberty, they're riding in hot after their series against Kennesaw State. They swept the Owls there, and 32 runs over the weekend, tied for the most in a conference series for Liberty all time. Ever. So I think that's a great way to get the bats moving. Okay, so I think it gives them a good dose of confidence, and especially Tori, like we were talking about this earlier, Paige Dorr. When you get someone as hot as she was this past weekend rolling, heading into a conference tournament, it can only be good things. She had a 6-hit weekend. If you're Dot Richardson, you're like, come on, I need this to carry over into the conference tournament.
It opens the door for a lot of possibilities, especially in the postseason. I think so much we had talked about comparing to what she did in 2025.
Yeah.
She was so good in that postseason run. But now that you put the stats together when it comes to on-base percentage, RBIs, home runs, she's getting it all to click, and you compare the last season to this season, she's doing all of the same things. That average is down just a bit, but for her, it's that veteran presence. And when she gets the pop off the bat, it's at all the right times. So I have been so excited to see Paige Dorr really come alive, and her play in the outfield, it's been stellar too.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and just a marquee member of, when you talk about showing up in the grandest of moments, that's what she did last year. So I'm sure she wants to get on that role as well. And then there's other pieces that don't get talked about as much, but I feel like someone that we cannot move on without talking about is Danny Lee, the freshman who just started getting consistent starts about midway through conference play. An absolute tear. And you were telling me that when it comes to hitters in Conference USA, not many people have a plate presence like she does.
No, I think it's interesting because if you've ever watched it, watch Rachel Roop and then watch some of the at-bats that Danny Lee has as well. When you're looking for plate presence, those two, it's a little bit similar, very athletic build, just a cool, calm, collected approach in the box, a nice steady swing, but when they get through the zone, it's really violent. And that is what you're looking for if you're a coach, to think that she's not only a freshman, a true freshman, okay? She hadn't had any college reps. She was just a pinch hitter, and as soon as she got her start, it was lights out from there. This kid is so impressive.
Yeah, and if you can keep that rolling into the conference tournament, I think it's going to be lights out for whoever you're playing, because she's been so consistent. And then I feel like someone else that we got to just point out, the role that Alexia Carrasquillo has been on as well. She's one of those players who comes in to pinch hit, whatever it is, and she just gets the job done. And she's so explosive when she's at the plate.
Yes.
And the personality that she is as well brings so much energy to what they do.
I love it. I think when you think of somebody that needs to get that dugout up, ready, fired up, when she hits a double and you see her slide in, she immediately is looking to that dugout, firing them up. This team is very much in need of some momentum. I think you saw it at Kennesaw. And so I think she is kind of that spark plug. It's not at the beginning of the lineup, but it's always the pressure-filled situations where you look at her and you know that something's going to happen. She's just clutch.
Yeah, absolutely clutch. Well, we've mentioned a lot of different players that could have breakout tournaments at the CUSA tournament coming up here in just a few short days. But let's hear from Coach herself, how she's feeling heading into the tournament. Here's our conversation with Dot Richardson. Well, so great now to be joined by Lady Flames head coach Dot Richardson, taking the time before the Conference USA tournament. Coach, you got to be pleased coming into this tournament with the weekend your team just had, just absolutely dominant, especially at the plate. What were your takeaways from that weekend down there at Kennesaw?
Yeah, very excited. I think offensively we're clicking. We're on all 4 cylinders, which is great. Offensively, I think, in the circle, I thought it was really good. And defensively, we sharked up a lot of stuff too. But I think good momentum heading into the conference championship tournament this week.
And Coach, I know looking up and down that lineup, is there anyone in your mind that when you're looking at them, you say, I think that they're really going to break out in this tournament, it's going to be their time to shine?
Yeah, I think you're seeing it. Maci, Strickland, you look at Paige Dorr is coming through really strong. Brooke Roberts started hitting the ball really well. Watley staying competitive and getting on base. Bryn McManus has been just hitting the ball all year, just 2 people or breaking loose. And, you can see that in the skyrocketing of her, her batting average. I would like to see, Foxy, Ella Fox leading off, and Savannah Jessie get back in their rhythm. But Alexia Carrasquillo, I can go up and down the lineup as you guys see. She's been doing really well. So I'm just excited about where we're at and the opportunity we have before us.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing opportunity. And we've talked about it this season, the expectation that this team has felt and how it's been tough to deal with at times. But now that it's almost go time, how would you measure the confidence level of the group that you have?
Well, I can tell you they seem to be in the groove. I think I'm really excited about that. All of them recognize, God has given them amazing talents, and it's really up to them to give that worship back to the Lord, to compete at the best of their ability. But it looks like everyone's getting ready to finish strong. Maci Strickland, I hear she might be on the podcast. Her walk-up song is about, it's not how strong you start, it's how strong you finish. So it's kind of nice that you have her on the podcast to answer that question as well.
You talk about the preparation, how important it is. What does the preparation for your group look like going into the tournament? It's Monday right now as we are currently recording this podcast. I know I was told you have a day off today. What is it going to look like ramping up until you guys take the field on Thursday?
Well, they needed rest for sure. We were able to charter a flight to get up here to Delaware, which, instead of a 11-hour drive, it ended up just being an hour and 30-minute flight, which was great. And then having today off as well is important for them to just kind of reset, rejuvenate, refocus. And tomorrow we have a good practice, starting at 1:00, we have hitting, and then we go into defense on the field, get familiar with the artificial turf again for the infield. In our field, we have dirt in the infield and artificial in the outfield. So we'll get some ground balls, make sure everyone feels good. But really, it's about getting rest and then focused for that Wednesday start at 7:00. Let's go Flames. Let's do it.
Coach, I want to look into your circle a little bit. I know we've talked about you want to be able to locate, you want to limit the walks, but beyond that, when you are in the conference tournament, what makes the difference in the circle?
Well, if we score first, I think that gives them a little bit of, relaxation, if you would, still focus, but recognize, okay, the team is on today offensively. I think that's key for us, to get to score first. And if the other team does score, to respond right away, right? I think that's going to be key. But cutting down the free bases, it comes down to that. We have way too many, but we have fewer as you're looking at the second half of the season. So I'm excited about that statistic. But we've been able to see the pitchers that are rising to the occasion. And so we're going to make sure that they get the ball and they get it in the circle. And I believe the team believes in them. And so when you have that in the circle, the rest of the team is excited to play for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess we'll close with this, Coach. I know last year was the time when so many lives were changed at the conference tournament. So many ladies were baptized. And there's definitely business for you guys to handle, playing in the conference tournament. But are you also kind of excited to get back into that environment where the Lord moved so evidently last season?
Well, that's the biggest business of all, right, is sharing the gospel. So that trumps any type of softball game, whatever it might be. So it's been really fun as we're shaking hands and praying with our opponents after the games that you'll have these players that were baptized or heard about it say, God bless you, Coach. And, the Lord is working. The Holy Spirit is moving. Last tournament, he definitely did. I don't see any exception this year about other people looking at Liberty and realizing what we stand for. That's training champions for Jesus Christ. Like, he is the rock. He is our Lord. He's our Savior. And we need to share that with everyone. And you're starting to see him moving, throughout the sport of softball and really through athletics in college. All of you have seen so many or heard of so many baptisms happening in even professional sports. You'll see athletes just standing strong on the truth. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father except through me. So everyone comes to a point in their life when they have to realize, do I believe who Jesus says he is? I'm the Son of God. The Son of Man has come to take away the sins of the world, the perfect sacrificial lamb that was needed to cover the sins of humanity with our choices that we made instead of following God, to follow ourselves and we be our own God, or to listen to Satan. To me, that's that's what it's really all about. And the gifts that he's given all of us, you too, with your being able to, to be there as commentators and to use your gifts and talents. All of us have different gifts and talents, right? The Bible says, right, that we're the body of Christ and not one part is more important than another. The point is we're all one in Christ. And that's what we need to do, and do it right on the field and just honor him by how we handle the challenges that we're going to face in victory or defeat. The truest victory we know is in Jesus Christ, and we believe that. And, that's really the most important thing. So let's do it right. Let's honor him. And there I go. Do it right.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it. I know you guys are very busy right now, but we're rooting for you. We can't wait to see what you guys do up there in Delaware. So best of luck.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for following us, and keep your eyes on us because the Lord is moving. God's got a purpose, and we're just going to trust him. And hopefully, as I say, go Flames, go God, because God worked through us. Keep using us for you and your kingdom.
Well, so great to hear from Coach Richardson, taking some time out of that schedule that I'm sure is very busy. They've been on the road for so long. They left to go to Kennesaw, and now that series is over, took a charter flight right over to Delaware, and they've been there ever since, and now they're going to go play a conference tournament. So talk about momentum, team bonding. That's the definition of what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, too, is just getting as much rest as you can. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at Camden Anders, the amount of innings that she's thrown after bullpens, you're just letting her get the ice on the arm. Once you get into the hotel, it's honestly trying to catch up on homework too, because we're in finals week, guys. So that the Lady Flames are really busy.
Yeah, you can't forget about that. And you brought up the circle, and I kind of want to park on that for a second here, because if there's an ace that you would classify for Liberty this season, it's been Anders. And we know how important an ace is when you're going into a conference tournament, the postseason in general. Elena Escobar, she carried Liberty through their postseason endeavors last season through so many innings. Camden Anders, she's picked up the bulk of the load this year. Do you feel like this will be an ace-driven conference tournament for them, or are we just going to have to see some more contribution from other arms?
I think that you're going to need her for a lot of innings, but I do think that it's going to be one more piece of the puzzle. Now, whether that is Yoder, whether that is Gabby Mike, I think it's going to be one of those two, because Danner Allen gives you a similar approach to Camden Anders on the left side. You got a ton of spin, but I think what we really need is that X factor. I see that with Mike, I see that with Yoder, but it's going to be, can they dial in? They have faced some of the juggernauts in the country, so will they be able to find the zone? I hope so.
Yeah, and we'll get to those non-conference opponents that they've faced in just a little bit. But it's an interesting topic of discussion because Anders, she's been a workhorse, especially over this past month. And you think about that Louisiana Tech series, she had just come off of pitching in a non-conference game, then she comes in and throws 2 games out of the 3 there. She's been so busy, but she's gotten the job done. And that's great to know that you can put her out for so many innings. She's still going to be consistent and steady. But like you said, Tori, you're just going to have to find another source of life to drive you through the tournament.
Yeah, because within a span of a week, before that Louisiana Tech series, she had thrown 400 pitches just in that span of a week. And then the arm was still on demand for that series as well. So for her, she's going to be locked in. She's going to be pretty sustainable throughout the entirety of the game. But you need somebody to go in there and rack up those strikeouts, demoralize some teams. And when you can bring someone in that hasn't pitched a ton this season, it kind of takes people by surprise. This is a pitcher, Anders, they've seen her a lot. But you bring in someone that's a little bit unexpected, you shake things up, and I think that is kind of the secret sauce when you're looking to win a tournament.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because when we were talking to Virginia Tech head coach Pete Demore a couple weeks ago, Liberty had upset them in a non-conference game, and that's when they had Abigail Finley on the mound, and he said, listen, our team needs to learn to be good against, yes, the top scouted pitchers. We know what we're going to see from Anders and Mike and Allen, but we need to be just as good with maybe the number 5 or 6 pitcher on the depth chart. So I feel like you're right, Tori. That's where you can really get a team when it's our number 5 or number 6, number 4 pitcher is really on her game right now, and teams aren't prepared for it.
No, it took Virginia Tech, who at the time was ranked whether you look at different polls, number 12, number 16, at the time, Finley went 6 innings before they were able to make any real adjustments. So you started seeing the long ball after that. So if you're looking at the box scores, it might be a little inflated, but through those first 6 innings, they had just scored a few runs. So that is a lot of work to do ahead of you when you're facing the Hokies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we shift our discussion over to the top seed in the conference right now, Jack State. As we mentioned, they really separated themselves from the pack in conference play. They've been strong from start to finish. I mean, they have assets like McKenna Moore, Emma Elrod that have been absolutely tearing it up for this program, and they've skyrocketed to the top. What do you feel like is that separator as they enter the conference tournament that people are going to have to catch up to?
I honestly feel like it's just being gutsy. And I think that that is one of those X factors that you can't really put a finger on, but when you look at how successful they've been with runners on base, that takes just that composure in the box, super gutsy play. Emma Elrod, Nowakowski, they're veterans, you know, they're used to it. McKenna Moore has been super dominant. I mean, we see the second best ERA in the conference.
Yeah.
So I think they have just been steady and consistent, and when it comes to those last couple of innings, you better watch out because you might have a lead, but they'll find a way to manufacture some runs.
And it's interesting too. That's why I'm so excited to see these top 3 seeds like battle it out with one another, because they all saw each other the first 3 weekends of conference play. Liberty started out against Jack State, then WKU and Jack State went up against each other, and it was all over the place. Jack State mostly dominated those games, but March was a long time ago. We're in May now. So these teams have grown, they have developed, and man, whoever it is in the conference title game, it could be someone like Louisiana Tech, but when it comes down to Jack State, Liberty, and WKU, I cannot wait to see how all of it shakes out. And you know, you mentioned these players around the conference that are tearing it up right now. We had Tori do a little homework assignment. Okay, we wanted to know Tori's all-conference first team, 1 player at each position. Who is she talking? We're going to show you the results right here. But Tori, can you walk us through your first team all-conference USA?
Yeah, so I think first off, you have to be looking at the mound. We've talked about how important it is to have a good arm, but what about an arm that can also hit? Faith Aragon, 221 strikeouts, way more than anyone else in the conference, but she's also hitting 377 with 7 home runs. So yeah, she's gonna be at the top. When I'm looking at her battery mate, it's gonna be Sydney Schaefer. We saw Schaefer here, full home run display here, 44 RBIs, 16 Sid bombs just this season. Annie White, I'm looking Western Kentucky. She's going to be my first baseman. Now, I will say, when you're looking at first basemen in this conference, they are some of the best hitters top to bottom that we see. So that one was definitely competitive. But when you're looking at her OPS, 1.285, it's going to lead the conference. Hitting the ball in the gap, super solid. Yeah. And then also Katie Shivert from Delaware. She's been great at second, steady plate appearances. Morgan Sharp, Western Kentucky, 17 doubles. That's been solid just to see kind of her veteran presence as well. Maci Masters is who I'm taking at third base at the hot corner, 15 home runs. And so I know those WKU bats, I've got a few of them, but I think we'll see in the tournament what I'm talking about. Callie Meredith, I'm taking her in the outfield for FIU. I don't think there's any debate about that. I mean, she not only is hitting 456, but she's constantly on base, 23 stolen bases. This girl can fly. And so when I'm building out more of that outfield, I'm also going to go with Nowakowski. I talked about her doubles more than anyone in the NCAA right now. She's hitting 398, 43 runs scored. And my DP, this is where it got tough. This is where I'm looking strictly at the bat. Have to go with Veronica Harrison, Sam Houston, 17 home runs. The only other person to do that is Reagan Marchant from Louisiana Tech, but I had to take Harrison because not only does she have the home runs, but she also has the average at 342.
Wow.
But on top of that, we cannot forget, it's not just about the bats. in my mind, of course, the stats are going to tell you what they need to about this lineup, but you also need some honorable mentions, some defensive anchors, and that is what I want to get into next. So if I'm looking at who is really keeping a handle, saving runs, it's going to be Elena Hang, and it's also going to be Maci Strickland. Elena Hang was last year's Golden Glove winner, and Maci Strickland, one of the best corners that I have seen at this level.
As just a freshman.
A crazy claim, but defensively, I haven't seen anyone that's done it better. She is so sound, throws off of 1 foot, covers the gaps. I mean, I love watching her play.
Yeah, so those are our defensive anchors to add to Tori's All-CUSA first team. And you mentioned one of those defensive anchors in Maci Strickland. We're going to have a nice little conversation with Maci right now, so take a listen. Well, so glad to have Maci Strickland here with us, the freshman phenom for the Lady Flames this season, taking some of your time out of your busy schedule before the conference tournament. We really appreciate it. And I guess I just kind of want to know, you've burst onto the scene this year. How would you summarize your first true year as a college softball player?
It's been great. I mean, of course, last year I was injured, so I didn't really have like an actual softball year, but this year's been great. It's been fun to play with everyone.
And tell me a little bit about how that shoulder is holding up. I know it's been such a process getting back healthy, but you're slinging it from third, so how has it been?
It's been good. I mean, the recovery was hard, but I think now it's definitely gotten stronger and it's where it was. Sometimes it hurts here and there, but that's just a part of playing the game.
Well, I mean, your talents were on display this past weekend at Kennesaw State, and I found out that your dad played baseball for Kennesaw. So looking back, I mean, when you put up 5 hits and 2 RBIs in 3 games, did he have anything to say about that performance? Like, was he kind of like, ouch?
He was just proud of me no matter what, honestly, and being there with my family was so much fun. Getting to play where he played was good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had talked, you guys have been on the road a ton. You're going to continue to be. When it comes to travel, you guys had some charter flights, and I saw that Felicity Fonseca was actually a co-pilot. How did that happen?
We were on the plane and the pilot came on and was like, if y'all want to come see the cockpit, y'all can. And she was the first one to sprint up there and go see it. So she went up there, was talking to them, and she's big on adventure. And she was like, can I sit here the whole flight? I want to see everything. And they were like, actually, you can sit here when we land if you want. So she was up there the entire flight, but we all got to go up there and see it while we were flying.
That's so cool. Funny. Yeah, she's such an awesome character. I love her. And as someone who has been around this team both last year and this year, how have you seen this team evolve throughout the course of the season? Because it was a fairly new group coming into it. What steps have you seen the team take?
We've all grown closer because of course everyone's different, so personalities are hard to get to, but we have grown so much from the beginning of the season, and people who were there last year and were friends with people this year, it's been so much fun to get to know.
And a lot of people know the success that you've had specifically on the dirt, but maybe not that you were an all-state quarterback. So I have to ask, when you guys are looking at first and third plays, you're looking at how you're going to attack maybe the short game, do you ever feel like maybe you're just navigating another huddle? How does that come into play?
Yeah, I mean, being a quarterback in high school was so much fun, and being able to, I guess, control an environment, I guess, not even, but it was so much fun. And going into softball, it just helps with faster reads and being able to read the short game, just stuff like that.
Now, I'll put you on the spot here. I know there's a lot of players on the team with some great hands, so I'm not discounting that, but if you could pick your one wide receiver that you're going to out of anyone on your team, who would it be?
Probably, I feel like Paige could definitely be a good wide receiver. Or even Jemiah, honestly.
Okay.
But I think I'll go with Paige.
Now, do you ever toss the football around with any of them? Is that where that's coming from, or just in general, they got it?
Actually, well, I have thrown it around, but I don't think Paige has ever thrown it around with us. But I feel like she would be a good wide receiver. She'd be able to get down there fast and get hands on the ball no matter what.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those pictures pregame throwing it around. I think you need to show them what's up. But I mean, I think too, we're looking now, you're getting into Conference USA Tournament, postseason, whether it's softball, flag football. You've played in a lot of intense, pressure-filled situations. What do you think your kind of identity is as a player when the stuff's on the line?
Just to stay me, like keep it simple. Don't make it any bigger than it actually is, and go out there and have fun no matter what.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, you've been so astounding defensively this year. Have there been any defensive parts of your game that you've really, committed yourself to fine tuning this year to have that kind of success?
Just everything, honestly. Like I've always been a strong defender, but coming into college, everyone's the same. And I really worked hard on everything this summer, being faster, getting to everywhere that I need to be, moving my feet more, like just worked on everything.
Yeah, well, we love it. And before we let you go, where do you feel like this team's mind is at heading into the conference tournament? Like, what's the mentality? What have your coaches been telling you that's getting you pumped up for the moment?
I mean, to go out there and attack, like no matter what. We have nothing to lose. Like, who cares? Go out there, have fun, give it your all, and at the end of the day, God's gonna have a plan for you anyways. So whatever happens, happens.
Awesome. Well, Maci, we can't thank you enough for the time. We are so excited to watch you in the conference tournament. So we can't wait. Best of luck out there.
We're rooting for you.
Well, so great to have Maci join us. And if auditions are being held for her number one wide receiver, can I just try out? I would love to catch a pass from the Maci Strickland. Can you imagine?
Annie's got the hands. She's like, hey.
I promise I can do it. Yeah, come on. No, she is so cool. When I read that she was a flag football state champion, played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
So cool.
Sign her up for the Olympics now. Come on, that's coming up. So yeah, super great conversation. And I know Dot Richardson spoke very highly of Maci Strickland as well, and you can see why.
I mean, she is so good. And I think, she's starting to get more of that leadership type of role. Mm-hmm. We had talked about, of course, when it comes to getting the infield together and being kind of a play caller and navigating stuff. That's what she was used to doing as a quarterback. Yeah. But now she's getting to do it on the infield, and she's getting the confidence to be able to, speak her mind and, help navigate things when it gets chaotic on the infield.
Yeah, definitely. And you're going to need that in crucial moments like the conference tournament. We know that she's a level-headed presence for this group to count on. And we've talked so much about the conference, obviously, because it's the Conference USA Tournament. But, Liberty, it's win the tournament or go home, because the RPI unfortunately doesn't land in their favor this season to make it beyond the postseason without winning a conference tournament. So we kind of take a look at where things would stand if Liberty were to win this conference tournament, be crowned the champions, and then step out into those regional waters. Unfortunately, non-conference hasn't been Liberty's friend this year. There's been a lot of talent in this area. You talk about the ACC teams that they have taken on this year, the Dukes of the world, the UVAs, the Virginia Techs. I think we're seeing groups in this Virginia, North Carolina area that are more talented than they've been in years.
Yeah, which makes it so fun, also being from here to kind of sit back and see how much this game has grown just over the past few years. I mean, it's always been pretty competitive in the Carolinas, but now Virginia too. I mean, the Cavaliers at one point had a 20-game winning streak. Mm-hmm. Virginia Tech in that top 15 had scored 12 runs in one inning at the beginning of the season. And then I look at the Duke Blue Devils. I think back to back, they had knocked off Tennessee, UVA, and Virginia Tech. And we saw them here. I mean, they are so good. Yeah. North Carolina in the ACC too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're home run hitters. Emily Leggett,
Crazy.
insane.
Crazy. And it's crazy to talk about too, because Liberty, the way that Dot Richardson sets them up, she wants them to see the best of the best, like day in and day out. That's why she structures her schedule that way. So you definitely cannot say that Liberty hasn't seen the nation's heaviest hitters this year. I mean, they opened up the season against Carlin Pickens of all people. So when we open up that conversation for if Liberty does win this conference tournament, where do we see them going? I think first we got to take a look at the RPI right now. The top 10 teams in the nation as we stand. Arkansas is at the top of that RPI list, and then you have Alabama, Nebraska, I think loaded with SEC talent, obviously, as it always seems to be. Also loaded with Big Ten talent this year. You take a look at what UCLA and Oregon are presenting. Lots of talent out there on the West Coast. And then Duke sneaking in there, number 10, because the ACC is also loaded this year. And you do see a lot of variety between the RPI and the rankings in general this year, because it's like there's so much talent. It's hard to label them and have consistency across the board.
Yeah, I think too, looking at all of those in-conference opponents, it's been battles. I mean, we saw last night UCLA completely blew out Oregon, but they had lost the series before to them. So it's crazy right now, obviously, in the Big Ten and ACC. Who knows who's going to win that? Florida State had been on top for so long, and then here come the Duke Blue Devils. So I love how disruptive it's been. Oklahoma, the firepower with their bats has been insane, but they didn't start that way in the season. They had dropped a couple of games to smaller schools, and now it's their freshmen, the home run hitters, that are making all the difference.
So if you were to, I guess, predict a regional that you think Liberty is going to end up at, would you kind of stick in that ACC opponent region? Like, let's say UVA, Virginia Tech, Duke walks out of here with that conference crown in the ACC, which, by the way, is going to be an insane tournament. I cannot wait to watch that tournament as well. But where could you see Liberty ending up at?
I think what would be so fun to watch would be to see Liberty at Cameron Field, looking at playing Duke or some other opponents there. When you're looking at the AUSL, if they're expanding and the Blaze are going to be playing at that same field professionally this summer, I think, what better way to bring in the community, the Carolinas, all the schools in Virginia, bring all of those fans, a regional that's close to them, and then have some of those opponents, because like we talked about, this region is a hotbed for talent.
Yeah, definitely. And we have heard that it's trending toward potentially neutral sites in the future for regional locations. So, these teams are scrambling like, hey, if we're going to host a regional, it is going to be now, because that makes a world of a difference for these teams to be able to host and have everyone come to their yard and have to play there. So much excitement. I mean, the SEC tournament is going to be insane this year, as it always is. The ACC tournament over there in Charlottesville, we're going to have so much talent coming to Charlottesville, just an hour away. So it's going to be so much fun to watch. Any other battles that you're keeping an eye on?
I would say always keep in mind Tennessee. I would say when you're looking at the SEC and, now you got Oklahoma, they've established themselves towards the top, but you've got Carlin Pickens, and you've also got an offense that when they get together, there's just so much energy, so much firepower. I mean, they do it well in every single aspect of the game. I think you've got to keep your eyes out for them. I could expect some really big things. In Nebraska, you've got Jordy Ball, so.
Yeah, come on.
Can't say any more other than that. I mean, you've got Jordy Ball.
Yeah. Well, it is that time in the softball world, postseason. The absolute best time of year, if you're asking me. It's going to be so much fun to watch. And Liberty, it all starts on Thursday, either La Tech or FIU. We don't know at the time of this taping, but it is going to be a wild ride of a Conference USA tournament, and we cannot wait to watch. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Lady Flames Softball Podcast. We'll see you next time.